Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? The voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony's not here. I guess it's good news, bad news. The bad news is Tony's not here. The good news is we've got not one, but two bonus episodes talking about WrestleMania. That's right. WrestleMania 8 and WrestleMania 21 are our subjects today. And this is all from our Patreon. It's patreon.com/WHW Monday. So you've probably never actually heard this before unless you're a member on the Patreon. Tony jumps on and does some live watch alongs. We got bonus content. We send you some swag. We get together once a year. Highly recommend the WHW Patreon if you haven't checked it out. That's patreon.com/WHW Monday. But we've got not one, but two WrestleMania segments here. The first one is a suggestion that we got way back when from low-key big hog Travis Carter of Louisville, who wrote WrestleMania 8. Specifically the Savage and Flair match and the Hogan Sid double main event. I am originally from Bloomington, Indiana, and was lucky enough to have attended WrestleMania 8 as a high school senior. A carload of buddies and I got tickets mostly to see the Nature Boy live, and were disappointed when we got there and saw our seats were obstructed by the scaffolding that held up the video board. So myself and two other guys noticed three great seats that were not being used and sat there the whole show. I remember loving Hart and Piper and the Flair matches, and being confused by the finish of Hogan Sid. I also remember thinking Liz was the most beautiful human I'd ever seen. Love the shows and look forward to hearing your thoughts. That's right. We're going to be watching Savage and Flair. How about Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice? I don't think Tony had ever seen this when we watched it together. Of course, this went down in 1992. Fun fact, this was my wife's first ever WrestleMania because, of course, it was Ric Flair's first WrestleMania. So without further ado, man, let's let the good times roll. I can't believe this is a real sentence. From 32 years ago, Tony and I take a look at WrestleMania 8. Stay tuned. WrestleMania 21 is on deck.
It's time for a June bonus podcast from Travis Carter out of Louisville, Kentucky. Travis, how are you tonight, buddy?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great. How's things in the beautiful city of Louisville, Kentucky?
Louisville tonight, in particular, is beautiful. The weather couldn't be nicer, and it's been very hot the last week, but
right.
Things seem to be trending in the right direction, and it's beautiful right now.
Yeah, Louisville is really one of my favorite cities. I've spent a lot of time there, traveling with the Gwinnett baseball team, playing the Louisville Bats. Saw a lot of fireworks along the river there. Just a real great city. So I'm envious, buddy.
I was going to ask you about that. I didn't know how much time you'd ever had a chance to spend here.
Yeah, I would go there. For 11 straight years, I went there every summer with the Gwinnett with the Braves baseball team. So yeah, the Louisville Bats, one of the great cities. So anyway, bud, it's great talking to you. You had a couple of suggestions for our bonus podcast. We settled on those two matches from WrestleMania 8, and these are good ones. We're first of all going to see the Macho Man Randy Savage take on the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the WWF Championship, and then we're going to see Hulk Hogan against Sid Justice. What do you remember about WrestleMania 8, Travis? That was back in 1992.
I was lucky enough to go to the event. Funny enough, when I had heard that we would be doing this, I went back and rewatched the show and realized that I have very little recollection of 3/4 of this card.
Really?
I definitely remember the Savage Flair match, which is the reason why I went.
Sure.
I remember the Hogan Justice match because I thought the ending was really weird. And I remembered the Bret Hart Roddy Piper match, which is a great match from that show.
Right.
I remembered that I had seen Jake Roberts, funny enough, but I did not remember that he had wrestled The Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card right now. Jake Roberts against The Undertaker, Bret Hart against Roddy Piper, Shawn Michaels against Tito Santana, the Bushwhackers and the Beverly Brothers. Wow, how about that?
I think that the Shawn Michaels Tito match kicked the show off.
Okay,
and that's a pretty good way to kick a show off. I think.
Damn right it is. Owen Hart was in it.
Funny enough, I had when I go through my mental list of wrestlers that I've seen perform live, I did not remember that I had seen Owen Hart, and I always thought, man, I wish I would have seen Owen Hart.
Yeah,
and apparently I did, but I don't remember it.
Well, Travis, don't feel bad. I can't remember what we did last Wednesday. So,
I totally understand.
Yeah, man. 1992 is a blur for me. So
it was a long time ago.
Yeah. So, Travis, let me ask you: are you a native of Louisville? Have you lived there your entire life?
I'm not. I was actually born and raised in Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay.
And so I started going to wrestling shows at the old Market Square Arena.
Right.
In the mid '80s, my dad started taking me to shows up there.
Right.
And that's why I was also had a chance to go to the main event in '88.
Right.
We probably went to, I don't know, 10 to 15 WWF shows back then. And I believe that this WrestleMania is the last live wrestling event that I attended.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I remember that we being WCW in the late 90s had an event at Market Square Arena, and it was like Peyton Manning's second year, and he came to that show, and we introduced him, and everybody booed him. And I remember thinking, they're booing him now because his rookie year probably wasn't the best, but they'll cheer for him later. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that would have probably been 2000.
Yeah.
And in 99, I think Manning set the all-time records for interceptions as a rookie quarterback.
Oh, okay.
And I remember people, thinking, well, this may be a big bust. I think we should have taken Ryan Leaf.
Oh, God.
And you obviously had the presence of mind to know that was not the case.
That's right.
To think of the long term, and of course, we know how history ended up turning out.
Yeah. All right, Travis, we appreciate your time, buddy. We are going to watch the Macho Man Randy Savage against Ric Flair for the WWF Championship, and Hulk Hogan against Sid Justice, by the way, with Harvey Whippleman. I don't know if you remember that or not. And that is from WrestleMania 8 at the Hoosier Dome.
I do remember that, and thank you so much. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you being with us on Patreon. Take care of yourself, man.
All right, Tony. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner, Barton, Mid-South Joy World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off, center stage, Bischoff. Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules, cat back. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When. A little bonus action, Tony, for Patreon here. WHW Monday coming your way, talking all things WrestleMania 8. This is going to be a fun show.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. We're going to watch two matches from WrestleMania 8. And we are certainly very excited about it, that we're going to be able to share it with you. And Conrad, we always have a good time with these, and we appreciate our people here on Patreon, our low-key big hogs, coming up with these. This is Travis Carter. And funny, I was just talking to Travis, and you just heard it here right before we right before we started this, and Travis, this was in Indiana. This was at the
Hoosier Dome.
The Hoosier Dome, right? The big dome. And Travis says that he remembers the show, and then when he goes back, he went to the show, and then when he went back and watched it, he thought, "Wow, I don't remember as much as I thought I did about it." So, and Travis, hey, welcome to the club.
All right.
Right. So we're going to watch 2 matches here. We are going to watch Ric Flair against the Macho Man Randy Savage. Then we watch Hogan and Sid Justice go at it. All right.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm at 112.12, and Tony, I'm all fired up, ready on my end. I'm ready if you are.
In 3, 2, 1, play.
Mr. Perfect Champion Ric Flair, this is it. We are just moments away for the...
Shut up, Mooney. This is what it's all about. The prize photo of your old lady, Savage. The one we're going to put up on the big screen in the Hoosier Dome so everybody can see what she looks like. We've had it all taken care of. We took out all the flaws. She's as close to perfect as she's going to get.
Oh, and believe me, this is the real deal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wrestlemania 8. It's Indianapolis, Indiana. It's bright lights. It's the big cities. It's long limousines. It's women lined up for a block to take a shot at the champ and Mr. Perfect. But most of all, it's Randy Savage's attempt to walk the aisle to defend the honor of his lady and to try and capture the most coveted trophy of them all, the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Randy, after taking the worst beating of your life, keep this in mind when you're flat on your back. Look up to the big screen, because Mr. Perfect will be waving the fold-out of Liz and Pal. She's all the way live. And then Liz, to top it off, you got one last shot, baby, at Space Mountain.
Can I come along with you this time, champ?
Yeah.
Let's go over to Gene Okerlund.
Obviously, World Wrestling Federation champion Ric Flair not at a loss for words. That is not the case, however, with the Macho Man Randy Savage. At this juncture, he is not granting interviews to anybody. It could be that this man is concentrating right now on regaining the World Wrestling Federation title. Or it could be that he's preoccupied with regaining the honor of his wife, the lovely Elizabeth. Or it could be that he is totally consumed with the thought, the notion that that alleged centerfold is going to be going up on the big screen here at the Hoosier Dome this afternoon, courtesy of Ric Flair. Whatever the case leading up to all of this, I've got to believe it's going to be one of the greatest title bouts in World Wrestling Federation history. With that in mind, let's get out to ringside.
So here we go. This match won the Wrestling Observer Reader poll. It got 231 votes for the best match of the night. Piper and Brett got 52 votes.
Okay.
Overall, the show only got 44% thumbs up. The bloom was off the rose, not just for the WWF, but all of wrestling here by 1992. And
yeah,
it was just not a banner year anywhere. This WrestleMania, no exception to that. But this match was unanimously voted the very best. And by the way, if you can't get enough of this, over at Ad Free Shows, right around the anniversary of this match, around WrestleMania time, we had Rick on to do a Q&A and let fans ask questions and let him sort of tell the story of WrestleMania 8, because Tony, for years, people speculated and maybe debated that it should have been Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 8. And instead they went Randy Savage with this whole Miss Elizabeth storyline for the world title with Ric Flair. And they didn't go on last. Hulk Hogan, and what was teased as perhaps being his last match, went on last with Sid Vicious. What'd you think of that decision? I know you weren't there. You were on the other channel trying to get over Dr. Death and Bam Bam Gordy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this presentation?
Well, as far as Hogan and Flair are concerned, I do remember this. I remember when Flair went there. And how long was this after Flair went there? It wasn't.
I think he showed up in August or September. So, okay. I don't know, 8 months.
8 months. So this is the So Flair shows up there, and I thought when he showed up there, I said, well, finally they're going to have Flair and Hogan, right?
Yeah, felt like it.
They're right. But they had Flair and Hogan do house shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, I remember thinking, why aren't they building this up for WrestleMania?
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I guess it's because the business was down and they needed a little jolt, they thought, for the house shows to bring in more money.
I think they thought Flair wasn't a draw.
Really?
I think they thought that Flair wasn't established to this WWF audience. I think they thought the formula that made Hulk Hogan a star is him versus monsters. So I think they put it on some house shows. It didn't sell out because those WWF fans were less of a wrestling fan and more of a WWF fan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
And even Rick has said, "Hey, I was never that over in New York. You know, he was over in Atlanta. He was over in Charlotte.
Right.
But he was over in St. Louis. He was over in Chicago. But he didn't think the New Yorks and the LAs. He thought those were more WWF Hogan towns."
All right. So when he and Hogan did not headline this WrestleMania, he wasn't surprised or upset about it?
No. He said that was never promised to me. It was never discussed. He did not have an expectation for it.
Okay.
We fans expected it.
Right. Yeah, we fans expected it.
Yes.
The ones that actually pay the money.
Yes.
Huh. So I thought it was a mistake because I was just like you. I thought, wow, that should be it. This should be WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But there you go. Well, but I'm also not surprised that the fans in the Observer Reader poll voted this the best match because these two guys
can tear it up.
Freaking work. Can tear it up. Absolutely.
They're big stars. They come off like big stars. They wrestle a big match here for the world title. And this is before any sort of audience fatigue is set in. You know, they're kind of in the middle of the card, which I know some people would say is an insult, but means you get to get in and get it over with sooner. It's not all bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is not, believe you me, and this is again how positioning of a wrestling match in a big card is critical.
Yeah.
There was no way this was going to go on before Hogan and Justice.
You mean after?
Or well, even before.
Well, it did go on before Hogan and Justice.
The match before.
I'm not sure that I follow you.
Okay. Is Hogan and Justice the very next match on the card?
No, it is not.
Okay.
So you don't mean before, you mean the matches shouldn't touch. Because they couldn't follow
that's right. The match it shouldn't be right before it. It shouldn't be the next. Hogan shouldn't be the next match because it's a story that backstage of wrestling is as old as time. When two guys go out and tear it up, people backstage will say, "Glad I'm not on next."
Nobody wants to follow that. Yeah,
that's right. So Vince, knowing what he was doing, he was smart. He would never put Flair and Savage and then come back with Hogan and Justice the very next match.
Copy that.
So I can understand why this was separated from Hogan and Justice, because these guys, like we said earlier, can tear it up.
What do you think about wrestling on a platform like this?
Yeah. I'm not against it because it lets the fans that are in rows 2, 3, 4 and on back have a little bit better look at the ring. When I was a fan and wanted to set ringside, I always wanted to set first row ringside or second, or set it even further. And back in the days, like rows 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 started to be elevated. We're put on risers. It was always really hard. It's hard to watch a match at eye level with heads in front of you. It really is. So I think it's a pretty good little move. Elevate the ring, give the people in the second and third rows a better eye shot at it. So I'm not opposed to it at all.
I'm glad that you're not opposed.
Not opposed. Oh, by the way, God bless David Hebner.
Man, isn't that sad? I mean, him and Tim White.
Yeah, I know. And here's David right here. Yeah, absolutely.
How hard has it been for you to not call Claudio Cesaro?
It's very easy for me.
Well,
because I never called it a WWE match. So
Never called an AEW one either, though.
no, I've never called one where he's been in it,
Yeah.
but the time will come.
I just meant, Excalibur and JR do that. You just go, that's exactly right.
Oh yeah, that's all I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And up, down. I mean, my God, they've got you in the ring, on the ramp, backstage.
It's all right.
No, I'm not fussing. I'm just saying you're like quantum leaping. You're transporting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on you to jump out any minute and yell, "Great Scott, 1.21 gigawatts."
Well, you know what? I was watching just a moment ago, right before we went to this match, Gene Okerlund, and I make it a point to watch a lot of Gene Okerlund
Because he's the best that ever did it.
He is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Somebody said to me, well, you are the Gene Okerlund of our generation. I went, bull fucking shit. I hold the microphone. I'm not Gene Okerlund. I'm not even close to that. And he was absolutely amazing. And what he did in front of the Macho Man's quote unquote locker room was complete ad lib. Complete ad lib.
But really good. Really good.
Really good. Just really knew what he was doing.
This is I don't think people talk about this enough, but the Macho Man, like legitimately, had maybe one of the best runs in WrestleMania history, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least to me, he, WrestleMania 2, it's him and George the Animal Steel.
Okay.
WrestleMania 3, it's him and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
The famous one. Yeah.
Yep. WrestleMania 4, he's going to win the world title with, Ted DiBiase in the main event.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 5, he's going to set a record with Hulk Hogan in the main event when the Mega Powers explode.
Right. I was there.
WrestleMania 6, he's going to work with Dusty Rhodes in a mixed tag that also had Sherry Martel.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 7, it's a retirement match versus the Ultimate Warrior. And now here, WrestleMania 8, Ric Flair for the world title. And then, of course, at 9, he did commentary and rode an elephant or whatever the fuck. Right. WrestleMania 10, he wrestled Crush, and it was all downhill. But still, he wanted to, allegedly, WrestleMania 11, wrestle Shawn Michaels. And you just think about that history. I mean, with the exception of 9, which is less than awesome.
Yeah.
And then 10 is, well, less than awesome. 2 was cool. 3 was better. 4 was huge, world title. 5 is better. 6 is a great story with Dusty. 7 is a great story with Warrior. And I think maybe Warrior's best match. He was a huge star at the time. 8 here for the world title with Ric Flair. And then, still, I just think that's a hell of a run for opponents and stories. And he was the original Mr. WrestleMania.
Yes. Yes, he was. And because he could work. And you just mentioned that Ultimate Warrior's best match. Why? Because he was in there with somebody that could really go.
Savage, man.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows Savage had a mean tope suicida. Everybody knows that. It's well established.
Did he ever try tope suicida?
No. Not unless you count that Jeep and that tree. Tony, you still with me?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was from Conrad Thompson.
Was that too much?
I will put a beep on that.
We're behind the paywall. Leave it. It's a fucking joke. Goddamn. I got the Macho Man's belt behind me and his crown. I love the Macho Man. I'm trying to make people laugh.
Well,
I made you laugh. So
yeah,
we're halfway there.
You popped me.
That's my barometer. If Tony laughed, it was good. If Tony didn't laugh, we're in trouble.
Hey, by the way, behind me, as you can see, you can't see it because we don't put these on video on our bonuses, but behind me, you can see the Bat Cave.
Yes.
And pretty soon, within the next couple of days, maybe by tonight, will be transformed to
a studio,
which it won't look different for those of you watching our podcast on a weekly basis. because I can take the stuff down and move. But anyway, really excited about it. Really excited about it.
It's good to hear, Tony.
Wow. That was a hell of a bump.
Yeah, it was.
So Savage didn't just shoot him out. He shot him up and down.
Here's what starts to get serious.
Okay.
The champion, the pendulum has swung. In this one, the tide is indeed turned. Big backdrop. Get up. Another clothesline. Stay by the rope. Stay by the rope. And another one by Savage. Get out. Get out. Get out. Go to perfect. Go to perfect. Go to perfect. Oh, spat right at him. Savage following it up here. Irish whip on the corner. Look at this. Oh, no, on him.
That up and over move is such a Flair move, is it not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Look at the fans pop on the false finish.
They're ready. This is a good story.
Yeah. Why was Kurt more of a manager here?
He had hurt his back.
Okay.
He was trying to get that Lloyd's of London money.
Yeah. Many wrestlers got it back in the day.
Yeah. SummerSlam 91 was like his swan song. He went in there, gutted it out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we know he came back later, but it was never quite the same.
Yeah. Because truly, before that, he was one of the best workers ever.
No doubt about it.
Oh, Flair flew up zip. Is he going to zip here?
Yes. And he got in trouble for this.
Did he really?
Yes.
Vince wanted no blood?
Yes. And it happened in 2 matches, Brett and Piper in here. And Flair and Savage owned up to it. They had to pay a fine.
Uh-huh.
Piper and Brett said it was a hard way. Nobody could prove differently. Yeah. They didn't have to pay a fine.
Well, you can tell, I think there had been blood in the ring already.
Yes.
So
from that match. Yeah.
Yeah. Brett and Piper had already worked.
How's Lois doing?
Lois is going to be getting shoulder replacement surgery this month.
A rotator cuff or like new joints?
I think it's like new joints.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So she is, we went bicycle riding one day and she fell off her bike.
Oh, that's what started it?
That's what started it. Yeah.
Damn it, boy.
Yeah. I know. I take the blame for that. But hopefully
why would that be your fault?
Well, because I convinced her to get a bike and go riding with me. And she tried to go around these fucking 3 people that were just lollygagging walking. And I told her, I said, don't go off She went off the trail. And then she hit a rut. And then she fell back on the trail on her shoulder. Damn. And there it was. Savage was so good at coming off the top, man.
Yeah, he was.
So Flair got a heat for this. Flair got fined. So when he appears with the blood, I'm sure that Vince is going bonkers in the back.
Yes. Not happy.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah, well.
he told them not to do it and they did it.
Yeah. And you could certainly prove that Flair did it.
Well, yeah, he's fucking bleeding everywhere.
Yeah. And look at the blood on Savage. Look at
Everybody on their feet. Flying elbow. Hooks the leg. Look at that. Come on. No. What is that? It's a 2 count. It's a 2 count. Perfect went right into the ring. That's disgusting. Look at Perfect in his pocket. Referee trying to separate him. Whoa, and the referee went down. Oh, look at that.
Perfect threw it to Flair and literally hit Flair in the hands, even as he's going down. Everything Perfect did was amazing.
Yeah, I know. But this also referee knows what he's fucking doing, man.
Yeah. Got a good referee here.
Yeah.
Need some more of those these days.
Oh, I think there's good ones.
Oh no, I know that. I'm just saying, I feel like you hear lots of wrestlers who were training, or lots of kids who were training to go to wrestling school. I don't hear a lot of people talk about, I'm going to train to be a referee.
Right.
It feels like it's like a backup plan. And that's a shame, I think, because it's a big part of the match.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, like a couple of referees that I know, like Mike Posey.
Oh, phenomenal. I really like Mike.
Yeah, I like Mike too. But what I'm saying about Mike Posey and a couple other ones are ring crew guys, right? That also referee.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
Mike Posey's a good dude.
Yeah, he is a good dude.
So there's Mr. Perfect, using a chair on Savage, getting away with it, trying to cheat when the referee's not looking, old school. And look who it is.
Elizabeth trying to make her way down. Oh, she can't take it anymore. Now is she worried about the matchup?
Look at Earl in them shoes, and look at a very young Shane McMahon.
Wow.
They're trying to creep Elizabeth out of there, but I don't think they're going to be able to. She's got a 9-minute.
Who's that in the back?
She's going to the side of the champion.
Looks like it.
Ric Flair. They're going to break that leg. He's going to slap that figure 4 on. Snap, crackle,
like Jim Barnett at first, but it's not.
It's not. It's Billy Red Lions.
Billy Red Lions. Absolutely. And there's Rene Goulet.
Yep. I always liked that move when Flair would pick him up and drop him down on the shin like that. It's a logical thing to do to set up the figure four. I want you to say that on the show one day. He hit him with the figure four, whore. Whore rhymes with four. If you could work it in.
I won't say whore on TV.
Wait, cut the shit, Tony.
Hey, Chief Jay Strongbow's there too. One of my favorite guys when I worked in the WWE that one year.
Is whore one of the words you can't say?
It's one of the words I wouldn't say.
Oh, so it's the figure four, slut.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
It's figure four, bitch.
You could probably use bitch.
Figure four, dumbass.
There you go.
You think you could hit hit JR with a dumbass one day?
No, I wouldn't do that either.
Can you imagine on the air? Mm-hmm. He'd lose his mind.
Yeah, he would.
It'd be so great.
Yeah.
Do it to Taz instead.
No. I don't need that heat.
No, nobody does.
Yeah.
You want to talk about never getting peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Talk some shit to Taz into the microphone.
Yeah. You know, I did on the, when I did the Sting match at Forbidden Door, one of the first things I said was, sorry, I didn't join you guys sooner. I was back in the back massaging JR's leg.
I heard that. And then when Jim came out, he referenced it too.
Yes. I never told Jim I was going to say that. And the reason I never told him I was going to say that is I thought of it as soon as I said it. And Jim thought it was funny. At least he told me he thought it was funny. So
today's episode of What Happened When is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions, Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below the waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and watch your confidence bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our special offer. Go right now to manscaped.com and use the code WHW for 20% off and free shipping. I have to say, after using Manscaped, I have officially caught the spring fever. How about the season's champ, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra? It's the 5th generation trimmer with 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads. You got a standard one to take a little off the top and a foil blade to go smooth. It also has 2 LED spotlights to help you navigate those delicate areas. And you don't have to worry about making a mess either. This dude is waterproof. You can shave in the shower, the bath, or hell, the ocean. It also comes in a compact case, so it can go everywhere you go. And Manscaped can take care of the upstairs too, not just the downstairs. Check out the Beard Hedger Pro Kit and the Handyman Electric Face Shaper. It can help you get that sculpted look or just clean up your neckline. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WHW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code WHW at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants.
I'm glad I didn't get any heat from him for that.
How
But,
about that?
Jim has made it a point to show his leg on social media all the time, and I thought, well,
Can you believe that?
Mhm.
That is gnarly. Good for him, man. I'm all these months later, and he's still dealing with that. I feel for him.
yeah, man, you're right, because he had it in November.
Dude, that's a long time ago.
Yes.
And it's still
not
where he wants it to be.
Oh, geez.
And he and I talk about it all the time, and we blame you. He didn't have any of this in his life until he started having to work with you again.
Yeah. Well,
those are his words, not mine.
Yeah.
He goes, Connie, none of this shit showed up till Schiavone decided to pop back up. Even Michael Cole didn't stress me out like this.
2 and 3, and he beats him. Huh? Look at the fans go nuts.
Look at the post match, though. It's good stuff.
So he prevented the centerfold from going up,
which is a real shame. The little kid on me, I was 11. I was ready to see it.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Oh, so now you're too good to see it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I wasn't a juvenile back then, so I didn't care.
Juvenile?
Yeah.
You grow out of that?
Yeah.
I don't think you grew out of that.
Yeah. So this was 1993.
Yeah. 92.
92. So I've been married for like, oh, wow.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, sure can.
She looks like she's half hot too.
Yeah, she kind of always looked like that. And they all have to hold Savage back, man.
Because he's going banana.
Yeah, because Flair kissed his girl.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Tony Gurria in there as well. And Earl Hebner came in.
Got him working over Savage. Still post-match. Meltzer, by the way, if you're curious, you want to guess what he gave this one?
4.5 stars.
4 1/4.
4 1/4. All right.
This was expected to be the match of the show, and it lived up to it.
I like how Perfect got a kick in too. That's heat, buddy. When they got him down and nobody's looking and you kick him.
Yeah.
Watch Perfect circling around. Wow, great post-match shit here.
Good stuff. And wait till you hear the promos.
Are they going to go after?
Yeah, they do promos afterwards, and it's really good.
Okay. Savage fight. They got to hold on to him so they doesn't chase him down the aisle. God bless America, Randy Savage and Ric Flair. Whoa.
It's good stuff, man.
Oh, man. It holds up.
It always does. I mean,
it holds up.
Because it's a story that people can believe in, and they believe in these characters.
Mm-hmm.
When you got believable characters and a believable story, you can pretty much just get out of the way.
Yeah.
I think fans are going to dig some stories they're going to see this summer. What'd you think of that version of the world title? Wrestling belt collectors call it the Winged Eagle.
The Winged Eagle. It's like the most popular one, is it, beside the big gold belt?
I think that's probably the number one right there. I've chased a dual-plated Winged Eagle forever and ever. Only 3 folks had it: Savage, Hogan, and Warrior. After that, it was all gold. The one Liz is holding there is all gold, and it actually sits in Hunter's office these days.
Huh.
But I think we're going to go backstage and hear a promo from Rick and then one from Savage. And buddy, it's good stuff.
Good, man. This is great.
How about the big fireworks show?
Yeah. Savage became the WWE champ.
Yeah. Again.
Wow. Wasn't a sellout, though. Now as they widen out.
Well, here's the thing on that.
Well, you said this wrestling was down a little bit.
62,167, but it was papered.
Uh-huh.
But they had at least 54,000 paid. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, to say the least, is a lot.
Over $1 million gate, 30 years ago. That's a big deal. Speaking of big deals.
Well, this is one tough assignment. I'm going to attempt to get comments from the now former World Wrestling Federation champion, Ric Flair's executive.
Shut up, Mooney. This is the way it is. Macho Man Randy Savage, you call yourself a macho man? Well, what's so macho? What an injustice. I'm not going to stand out here and say anything that wasn't true, Macho Man. You had a handful of trunks. The trunks were up. The stupid referee, a bad job of officiating. I'll tell you, Bobby, you saw what happened. Did you see what happened? I just got down from the booth. He had your tights. I saw it. It's on camera. It's on tape. I got it. There's nothing to worry about. He had
Nothing to worry about. Wait a minute. There were some tactics that Ric Flair was using out there that were questionable.
What we have right now is a man that'll walk around town tonight claiming to be the real world champion, claiming to be the second time WWF heavyweight champion. He'll be claiming it all. And most of all, he'll be claiming the love of that Jezebel, Elizabeth. Now, Savage, unlike a lot of people in the greatest sport of them all, we don't cry over spilt milk. We reassemble a team. The money, the brains, the nucleus, and we say to our opponent, you did it once. Now, let's see you do it again. One time means nothing to my career. Tell him, Mr. Perfect.
I'll tell you what, one time means nothing, Macho Man. Like your old lady, you're gonna be damaged goods because this man has never taken a shortcut in the world of wrestling. You, Macho Man, have taken a shortcut. You had a handful of tights. We were out there, we were wrestling. This man was the greatest World Wrestling Federation champion of all time. Here it comes. Let everybody have a good long look at it because they're all gonna see how the handful of tights. Here it comes.
Watch, Mooney, you get a good look. Look at that handful of tights. That's a champion. He cheated. He doesn't deserve to have the title.
Like his old lady, a cheater.
Well, the way it stands right now, there is a new champion in the WWF.
Right now, we regroup together. Where I go, Perfect goes. It's all monitored by Heenan. And like I said before, Savage, might not be tomorrow. It might be the day after. But I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat you bad, and every time I see your old lady, I'm going to kiss her on those moist, wet lips.
Woo! Baby champ.
Well, as you know, this is not a very safe place to be. I'm out of here. Let's go over to Mean Gene Okerlund.
All right, thank you very much, Sean Mooney. With me right now is the brand new World Wrestling Federation champion, Macho Man Randy Savage, along with the First Lady, Elizabeth. Now, some might say, Macho Man, that was a questionable victory. You heard them talking about the tights and so forth.
Do I care? I don't even care. It's okay. It's just a piece of what I wanted from you, Ric Flair. This is what makes you tip. This is what makes you tick. This is what makes you tick from the inside out. And I just took a piece of you. You haven't been beat up properly. But I'm going to do that for you, yeah. This isn't all I want from you, Ric Flair. I want the whole Nature Boy. I want the whole Flair package. Call yourself the real World Wrestling Federation champion. Well, I guess I am now. And what you did to Elizabeth, I guess you couldn't make me any madder than I was before I went into the ring, but somehow you did it. You made it possible, yeah. You made it possible. Now I'm going to get the rest of them. I don't care if it's in the street, parking lot, doesn't matter to me, yeah. Because I'll do anything to win. If I didn't prove it, I'll prove it next time. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Wait a minute, if I may, Randy.
Yeah,
Elizabeth,
you mean what?
after what happened here at WrestleMania, the fact that Randy defeated Ric Flair for the World Wrestling Federation title, in light of all of the allegations and everything that's been going on in past months, do you feel at this point that you're vindicated?
Wait a minute. This is yours. Take it and go. And this is yours, Ric Flair. Oh, yeah. This is yours. You can have all of me next time. Do you dear? I'm Mr. Perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm out of here. Oh, yeah. Just a beat.
All right. Thank you very much.
How good was that?
You know, they were the eyes of both guys wide and looking at the camera.
Yep.
And you know what they did? They set up a rematch, even though the babyface went over.
Yes. It was
Flair
tremendous.
loses, but keeps his heat.
I loved it.
Fuck.
And now we're going to keep the train going with more WrestleMania stuff. Let's go ahead and Tony, let's have you go to 2:15:36. And if you'll get to 2:15:36, we'll see our main event, which is also going to have some interviews beforehand that I think you're going to want to see.
Yeah, you know what? I love interviews.
Well, you're about to see two really good ones. Well, at least
Like
one
two.
really good one.
Okay, well, you know.
This one of Sid's is maybe my first or second favorite.
Really?
Second favorite, yeah. 2:15:36. You ready, Bubba?
I'm right there.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play.
The double main event here at WrestleMania pits the immortal Hulk Hogan against this man, my guest, Sid Justice. Now, this clash, this matchup this afternoon, I expect is going to be a barn burner.
No, shut up, you fat, bald-headed little oaf. Now you, Hogan, a barn burner it won't be. It is going to be your last match, and I will see to that. I have already made that promise to you, Hogan. As I leave this dressing room, and I stand in the ring, and you walk down that aisle, you remember one thing, that I am the master, and you are but the learner, Hogan. You are but the learner.
Wait a minute, Sid Justice. At the risk of sounding negative, you indicate that this is going to be Hulk Hogan's last match.
No, I promise it's going to be his last match.
We have never heard that from Hulk Hogan himself. As a matter of fact, recently my colleague Vince McMahon talked to the Hulkster, and here was his answer. Take a look.
Then is this your last match? This WrestleMania, is this the last time we see you step into the ring?
When you ask that question, it makes me sweat. Everywhere I've been, people say, Hulk Hogan, we know you've got a lot of things going. You're starting to divide your interests. You've got family, you've got business, wrestling business, you've got other type of ventures out there. Are you going to retire? Then I hear on the other side of the coin, are you going to be able to get by Sid Justice? When I sit here and actually think about my last match at WrestleMania, it chills me to the bone. Being able to handle happiness within my personal life and happiness on a professional level has been one of the greatest accomplishments that I could brag about. So when I talk about letting all that go, putting all that in jeopardy by saying, yes, this is my last match, or by even letting someone influence me, such as Sid Justice, saying, Hulk Hogan, I'm going to make sure this is your last match. All of those thoughts I put out of my head. I'm the only one that can make that decision, Vince McMahon. And right now, I have to tell you, at WrestleMania, I just won't know until I come out of the ring if it was my last match.
Well, then, whether or not this is your last match, I'd like to say that on behalf of all of us, your Hulkamaniacs, thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and thank you for Hulkamania.
Thank you.
See there, Sid Justice. Hulk Hogan didn't indicate this would be his last.
Shut up! I don't care! I don't give a damn about the memories of Hulk Hogan. The only thing they'll remember is that Sid Justice is the man that ended Hulkamania. Now you, Hogan, I curse you. I curse you and every Hulkamaniac because I rule the world.
Let's get back to ringside.
So what'd you think of that promo from Sid? That was pretty good, was it not?
That was very good. That was very, very well. And this was before writers.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah. So this is very, very good. Yeah, I liked it, man. I liked it. I love Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan doing the commentary. And here we go. Going to end Hulkamania. As we know, that did not happen, but it was a pretty good story at the time because he looked believable. It looked like he could. A big Superman, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey Whippleman. That is Dr. Harvey Whippleman. This is the main event at WrestleMania. And I am your announcer. Come on, on your feet and show respect to the greatest man in the World Wrestling Federation. Show respect to the man who rules the world. And his name is. Show respect to Sid Justice.
I got to tell you, Sid was like a guilty pleasure of mine. He just feels like he's such an intimidating, giant, badass. And he had the mannerisms down pat where he would just look to the crowd and they'd go bananas. I mean, I know people shit on his in-ring ability, but not me, man. I've had fun watching him.
He could have been the biggest star ever.
Well, I don't know about that, but he could have been a bigger star.
He could have been a bigger star. Okay,
Yes.
put it that way. He could have been one of the biggest stars ever.
Look at him.
I know. He just lacked the attitude.
The aptitude for sure.
Aptitude and attitude. He wasn't that easy to work with.
I want you to hear the Hogan pop though. Let's check it.
Not very often that the Hulkster has to step in there with someone as big or larger than himself, but in this case, he does.
His opponent from Venice Beach, California.
This may be
weighing
it.
303 pounds. The Immortal
How do you feel, Monzo? It has become deafening here in the Hoosier Dome. I can't hear nothing.
Is that still cool to you or is it lame to you?
No, it's the best. To me, it is still the best wrestling entrance song ever.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah, Rick Derringer. I got it on my iPod playlist.
Oh wow.
Or my iPhone playlist, I guess I should say. I love it. It fires me up.
And why shouldn't it?
Yeah, the words are kind of but the just the sound of it.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Dan, 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 and people go crazy. I don't think you can find a better entrance song like that. When he came to WCW, Jimmy Hart wrote a song that was similar to it.
It's terrible. Cody Rhodes loved it, said it was the better of the two. Cody Rhodes is a known liar.
I don't know about that, but I do know that he was wrong about that.
I'm just busting his balls. Come on. We talk about that all the time. I love Real American and he loves American Made, which to me is like not even close.
Yeah.
And you agree with me.
Yeah.
I love you're going to stop short of calling Cody a known liar.
Yeah.
I'm just busting balls, Tony.
Yeah, which is what you do.
Well, this is my last podcast. Hanging it up.
Yeah, because you're getting ready, obviously, to die.
I'm retiring.
Sounds like.
I'm retiring. Yeah. Man, look at Hulk Hogan just yucking it up. People are just eating it up, man. Can't get enough.
Yeah, man. They loved Hulk Hogan even years after. This wasn't the heyday of Hulkamania, obviously.
No. Now, you lived through it.
Yeah.
When do you think the heyday was? Was it 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89? Certainly wasn't 90, 91, 92.
Well, I think it was 84, 85.
You thought it was bigger then than it was when he slammed Andre in 87? You thought it was bigger?
Okay, no, I've got my years mixed up. Let me put it this way. It was big from the first WrestleManias through like WrestleMania 5, 6.
So he won it in January of 84. March of 85 is the first WrestleMania.
Yeah.
March of 86 is Bundy in 3 towns.
Right.
And then March of 87 is the Andre one.
Right.
March of 88, he works Andre in the tournament, but they crown Macho Man so he can go do no holds barred.
Right.
And then he comes back in 89 and sets a pay-per-view record. Granted, it's the infancy of pay-per-view, but set a record, him and Savage. I think 89 is one of my favorite years because that's when I first started watching and I like remember stuff. But
yeah,
I could totally see why fans would think, you know, it was at its height in 85 when rock and wrestling first got hot and
exactly
WrestleMania. And then again in 87. But if we had to make a run, you know, I say we would say 85 to 86, 86 to 87, 87 to 88, 88 to 89. So that 4-year span.
Right.
That's probably peak Hulkamania. And it's interesting that 4-year time because you go back and you look at, you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He got hot in 97, but he really became the man in 98. And then, you know, to 99. And then in 2000, he was hurt. He's back in 01. He's gone in 02. It's like that 4-year thing. And even when you think about WCW at their height, you know, and listen, I love me some WCW, but I think people just think that it was around a whole heck of a lot longer than it really was. But the NWO started in 96 and the company's out of business less than 5 years after the NWO started.
Wow.
So think about like the first AEW show. If they had a similar run, you guys are winding down. Now that's not going to be the case here.
No,
but it's just fascinating to me that we still look back, we being me, you know, and think about WCW being around a lot longer than they really were.
No, listen, I believe you me, I know how long WCW was around and I know how quickly it fell. But I agree with you about, to me, the Hulk Hogan years were from rock and wrestling through the Andre thing.
Yeah.
And do you think it was the loss to the Warrior that ended it? Did that kill it?
No, it was already waning a little bit.
Okay.
I think they thought, hey, we got to switch before it gets too stale. They tried Warrior. That didn't work. They went back to Hogan. They tried the War stuff. That didn't help. They brought in Flair. Didn't do big business on the house shows. So they tried Sid. That didn't work. So then next year they try something different. Try Bret Hart. Of course, that doesn't work either.
Everything has its run in wrestling.
It's a shame that Bret Hart, too, when he was on top, you know, business was down. He never really got to be on top of the business when the business was hot. You know, the WWF was still sucking hind teat in 97 when he was the top guy.
Right. But he is still held in high esteem.
Oh, the greatest. I mean, so many of our friends think he's the greatest wrestler of all time. And
yeah,
you take a look and really, it's kind of hard to argue some of that. Now I'm biased, but it's hard to argue.
Some of the wrestlers, famous wrestlers that we know, feel the same way.
Yes. And they will say things like, remember, Bret was always right.
Yeah. So it just shows you the influence Bret Hart had on not only fandom, but also wrestlers, wannabe wrestlers.
Well, I think a lot of that, Tony, is ages, right? It's like,
yeah,
who was your guy when you were at the right age? And
yeah, right.
And like you had favorites as a kid.
Yeah. Blackjack Mulligan.
Yeah.
On top of the heap. Absolutely. They're not doing much here, right? But it's so different than Savage and Flair, isn't it?
Oh, so different.
But they're two big guys doing strongman stuff here. The Greco-Roman knuckle lock.
Meltzer would say, you know, Hogan is really something special when he can be in a match like this one or the one with Andre, which is totally devoid of anything and still just by his charisma get the interest in the match.
Mm-hmm.
Not that this wasn't horrible, because it had to be one of the worst 3 main events in pay-per-view history. Wow. After an opening flurry, there was a 2-minute stall, a test of strength that never ended, an intermedial nerve hold, and the first wrestling move of the match came at 10 minutes and 30 seconds, which was a side slam followed by a power bomb that Hogan kicked out of and made the Superman come back. Hogan had perhaps the worst looking foot to the face he's done in a long time, followed by the body slam and leg drop. Justice kicked out and the ref called for an immediate DQ because Harvey Whippleman got in the ring. Papa Shango did a run in to lead to the return of a slimmed down Ultimate Warrior who made the save in gear, complete with entrance music and all. -2 stars.
Wow.
He would also say Warriors back full time. And yes, it is the same Ultimate Warrior as before. And there's a long-term plan for him. Jake Roberts quit before the show, which explains the burial in the second match. He left for what apparently was non-business related reasons and gave at least the impression that he'd be back before the end of summer. Of course, we know that's not true.
Right.
He instead shows up with you guys. He did say the only way this main event could have been worse is if that nothing happened and Tony Schiavone was on it.
Well, you know what I had to say about that? Thank God I wasn't.
Yeah. I think we all
Fans
agree
popped,
on that.
man. Fans popped for that. See, some of the fans popped for it. What we got?
It goes like this. Do it to the man as he would do it to you. But do it first. Yes, sir, baby. He's talking like it's all.
Talking trash in the middle of the match, dude. As a kid, that was awesome.
Wow.
I know you don't like it, but I like it. I'm allowed to like things.
Yeah, I know you're allowed to like things, even bad things.
I don't like anything bad. What do you like?
Me?
Yeah, what do you like?
I like oatmeal. I like
who'd oatmeal ever beat?
I don't know. I haven't seen every match.
Exactly. Oatmeal never beat nobody.
Yeah.
Oatmeal is a jobber meal.
I like cheese pizza.
Cheese pizza is for jabronis. Top guys get toppings.
Cheese pizza is for jabronis.
Top guys get toppings.
Top guys get toppings. Oh, wow. Harvey Whippleman has the attention of the referee, and the man behind Sid Vicious running the camera right there.
Yeah.
Tim Wolbert.
Really?
Director of AEW. Yep. That's Tim. I can tell because he's losing his hair and now he's completely bald. So there you go. Long time. And then he directed some for the WWE too, and directed some for MLW before he was hired full time to do AEW. John 3-3. Okay.
Look at this nerve hold, bro. Where you at on nerve holds?
I'm for them. I like them like I like. That's like the Spock thing. I'm like them like I like the claw on the forehead, man. They work. Showing your ability to sell here, man. Guy with the camera. The photographer is, I believe, Steve Taylor. Bruce will know better than I, but I believe he's a longtime photographer at WWE.
Yeah, he was.
That was him with the camera. I remember some of these guys.
You ever get somebody to pinch your shoulder and you just fall down? Almost pass out?
Somebody with a strong enough grip can make you do it. Let Rick Steiner do it to you.
How about I don't say I did?
See what happens. Because see, you and I, you may, but I do not have trapezius like Sid Vicious right
there.
there.
Who does?
So if you have just regular guy, it can actually Put you to the ground. Put you to the ground.
I'm just saying, I wish that Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho would do this next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Do a nerve hold through 2 breaks. Oh my God, look at Hogan. Hey,
Eric,
I know it's Thursday, but you reckon that blood and guts cage match is over yet?
it did go a long time, didn't it?
Motherfucker, when they laid and Chris Jericho yells, "Are we in a break?" I was like, you know what? Somewhere Keith Mitchell is just sipping some whiskey right now going, that's none of my business.
Yeah.
You know, that's got to be serious business. I'm a giant pussy. I'm scared of heights.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my big ass walking around the top of a cage. I'd be scared shitless.
Yeah.
And every time I see somebody do it, I'm like, I wish they wouldn't do it. And watching that one the other night, I was like, this is probably not how they drew this one up.
No.
If I had to guess.
Yeah.
There will be some great stories that come out of this, but it felt very much like Great American Bash 91 at the scaffold match where P and News was like, get me the fuck off of here. Cause that's what it like if I got up there. Hey guys, can we get down now? I'd like to get down.
Yeah. It wasn't,
I've decided I no longer want to do this. I've had second thoughts.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Hulk Hogan come back here.
The Hulkster has become impervious to pain. This place has turned into an asylum. Everyone here's lost it. It is deafening here as the Hulkster is on a rampage. One turnbuckle, then the other. There's the big boot. Could he have him? Could he have him? I don't know. I don't think so. Yes! He'll never get him up. He'll never get him up. He got him! That's the first time justice has been done. Hulkster looking to drop the leg. He did. It's all over. No, 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 no. Get that little creep on.
Now, supposedly that was not the plan. As the rumor and innuendo goes, Sid was not supposed to kick out of the big boot body slam leg drop.
Wow.
Whippleman was late, but it really wasn't even Whippleman's fault. Papa Shango missed the cue. Shango was supposed to have been there. He was not. Whippleman tried to call an audible. Sid knew here, I can't get pinned here. The match isn't over.
right.
So they're just stalling while the referee stands in the ring because Papa Shango was not told to go. Now, there's been some debate over the years. Was he in the right position or not? Shango says, yeah, I was there. I was waiting on somebody to tell me it's time to go. The call never came. So the timing here is a little fucked up, but now it's 2-1-1, and listen to this.
Hulk Hogan. This is it. This is crazy. Beefcake can't help him. He don't have a friend left. Wait a minute. What? It's the Warriors music. It's the Ultimate Warrior. It is. Look at that. The Ultimate Warrior. What is he doing? Is he going to attack Hogan? What is going on here? Clothesline!
How about the pop for the Ultimate Warrior, dude? Fans did not expect him to be here. You know, he had been fired at SummerSlam the prior year.
Yeah.
Now he's back. And a lot of people, and here's what's crazy, Tony. We never talked about this. Everyone listening to this my age was told that the original Ultimate Warrior died and this is a replacement.
Whoa, really?
If you hang up with me today and you call Chris and Matt and say, hey, did you think that was the same Ultimate Warrior that came back to save Hogan at WrestleMania 8? Both of them would say, well, yeah, now I know it was, but back then, and it's weird because it's not like the internet existed then. So like, how did Mikey from Black Label Pro hear that was a fake, that was a different Ultimate Warrior? But like I heard it in Prattville, Alabama. He heard it in bumfuck Indiana, like all over the country, little kids were led to believe 10, 11, 12-year-olds. No, that's not the same guy. That's a different one. And granted, his makeup's different. His hair's different. He's lost a lot of weight. So he looks different. And really, truth be told, if you squint your eyes, I could be convinced that's Kerry Von Erich. Now we know it's not. It's really Jim Hellwig. I'm just saying body type.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. What it's amazing about that is that, it's pre-internet. So, right?
It's not like we read it in a newsletter. It's not like we read it on the internet.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just crazy to think that, that became that whole telephone, telegram, tell a kid. And it got on the Kid Underground Railroad. Next thing you knew, we all knew, that ain't really him. But it was him.
Hogan wins the wins the match by disqualification, right?
Yeah.
When Papa Shango came in.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Meltzer gave it a thumbs in the middle overall as a show.
Okay.
Pretty good little finish to the show, though, because in this era, you had to say Hogan must pose, and we definitely got our pose. And if Hogan's posing at the end of the show, you know what that means, Tony. It's about that time. All right, hang tight. We're not done. We've still got one more WrestleMania to talk about. This one was a bonus topic that came to us from Pastor Tim of Naples, Florida. He remembers the main event of WrestleMania 21 when Batista won the world title. What a WrestleMania that was. Here's what Tim had to say. I selected this match because it represents an intersectional time in my life, professionally, personally, and in the specific context of my wrestling fandom. During my early days in college, I would get together with two close friends, Kurt and Chris, for an unsanctioned pay-per-view watch-along with members of the Christian Student Club during the Monday Night Wars. After graduating from seminary, Kurt and Chris went overseas to mainland China for a 2-year multicultural mission, and I accepted my first pastoral position at a local church in Central Florida. When the first promo for WrestleMania 21 aired, announcing WrestleMania 20 in Los Angeles, I immediately thought about Kurt and Chris. They were scheduled to return from their extended trip to China right before WrestleMania 21. We all agreed that we would reunite at WrestleMania 21. So going into WrestleMania 21, I was primed for a change, and there was nobody I was more invested in as a fan than Batista. He's the only wrestler I can remember following from the very beginning of his career until the very top of his career. How about that? Thanks for the heads up, Tim, and I apologize for all of our foul language and terrible things that we've talked about on this show, but thank you for hanging in there with us, Pastor Tim. We appreciate you suggesting this topic. Of course, Tony never saw this. He was not watching wrestling at all in 2005, but what an important show this was for the WWE and for Batista. What a great story this was. Let's go back in time to the Staples Center. Can't believe this is real. 19 years ago to WrestleMania 21.
July bonus podcast time, of course, here at the end of the month. One of the bonus podcasts comes from our good friend, Loki Big Hog, Pastor Tim. Tim, how are you, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You gave us quite a match to watch. We're going to go back now and watch in 2005 the main event from WrestleMania 21 between Batista and Triple H. And I had not watched this match, so I watched it. I did a little preview watch of it, and it's pretty darn good, man. It's it was a great, at least as far as it was a great story. Put it that way, the Batista story. And I know you wrote a lot about it. So tell us why you liked and wanted this for us to watch this match together.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. One of the things I looked at, again, going back using that wonderful, controversial, and polarizing figure, Dave Meltzer, back when this match was done, he even wrote that this was the peak of one of WWE's best storylines in years.
Right.
And it was awesome in storytelling. But for me personally, I was a seminary student going all the way back before this in 2002, 2003. And I was kind of disenfranchised after WCW ceased to exist when WWE bought them out. I just kind of got bored with WWE, and I started looking around on the internet, different things while I was in seminary. And one of the things we used to do, we had a Bible-like group on campus at our college, and some of the guys, we'd get together and watch wrestling during, the Monday Night Wars and stuff. And I was just kind of wishing back for that. And I looked online, saw some OVW wrestling, which was WWE's developmental talent. And the next thing I know, I see this guy at the time known as Leviathan that was debuting with the Disciples of Sin. And as a seminary Bible student, that caught my curiosity right out the gate, because Leviathan is an Old Testament reference. If you're in Christianity or Judaism, it's an obscure reference. Started listening and watching it. And of course, Leviathan would then go on to become Batista in WWE. And when he debuted, he became Deacon Batista, which again, this other religious reference as the enforcer for Reverend Devon Dudley. So right out the gate, man, I was interested in Batista. And, you know, just following his match, following his career, my buddies, my best friends, they went over and did a missions trip, and they were doing their kind of, you know, missionary journey over in China. And lo and behold, they announced WrestleMania there in 2005 in LA, and my buddies were coming back, and it was the first time that we had an opportunity for all of us to be together again. And I had emailed them and said, hey man, WrestleMania is going to be in LA, and I had done some work out there, and said, why don't we all get back together? And they said yes. And so we decided to have a reunion, a little seminary reunion at WrestleMania that year at Staples Center. And by that time, Batista, whose career I had been following all the way back, you know, now in Ohio Valley Wrestling, was now the main event there. And it blew my mind, because it's the first time I've seen a wrestler go from the very beginning of their career all the way to the peak.
Sure.
At main event at WrestleMania, which was interesting to me.
Well, your entire story about Batista and his rise, and you following him from the Ohio Valley Wrestling wars, so to speak, until WrestleMania is a great story. What is also another great story, Pastor Tim, and by no means am I going to slight on the business that has made me a great living, but how does a nice young man who's a pastor and a bunch of guys in seminary, how do they get hooked into pro wrestling?
That's a good question. You know, I really, we grew up, you know, most of us in really, what I would say, ultra-conservative religious homes. And I know for me, I was not allowed to watch wrestling. For my mom and dad, my parents, they were pastors for years. But here's a really funny story. At my dad, he was a pastor at a church, and he would go up to preach, and I would sneak away sometimes into his office during the service, because on Sunday morning in St. Louis, they would have WWE syndicated television, and I would flip on the TV in his office and watch a little bit of syndicated wrestling at that time. And as I got older, Saturday night, WCW there in syndication, they had their show.
Right.
So I would stay up really late watching it, and then arrive at church half dead, wanting to sleep. And that's how I really got into it. And seeing Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and, you know, all of that just absolutely just captured the imagination of superheroes come to life, as so many people have said before. And that's what made it alive. And so that's what I would do. And some of these guys in seminary, they had similar experiences. And we all started talking, and, you know, we just connected over it. And I think that's one of the things that's awesome about wrestling, is it really does bridge the gap with a lot of people from different economic statuses and social statuses. It's that classic good versus evil that I think brings people in. And that's what it was for me, especially as a kid. And that's another, going back to the 2005 WrestleMania 21.
Yeah.
You know, that the Hall of Fame, Hogan is going into the Hall of Fame at that stage. And it just felt like the perfect culmination professionally, personally. Piper goes in, Bob Orton, Jimmy Hart, you know, the Iron Sheik. And if you look at the whole card, I know we're just looking at the Batista Triple H main event, but if you look at that entire card from top to bottom, I mean, 95% of everyone that makes an appearance on this WrestleMania 21 card is in the Hall of Fame. They are all legends. And looking back on it, it is a WrestleMania that is overlooked and in a lot of ways forgotten.
I agree, Tim. Tim, you still work in the ministry, right? Obviously, we call you Pastor Tim for a reason.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. 100% full-time pastoring down in the Naples, Florida area. I love it. And you know, I pastor a very alternative church. We're an outdoor church. We don't meet in the building. We meet right at the beach.
Wow.
And it's just a great way for people to come together from all kinds of backgrounds. So we meet rain or shine outdoors every Sunday, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just to experience things in a different way. And Tony, one of the things that, cause I know a lot of your listeners, especially from a bonus side, because what happened when and everything, sometimes it can be pretty blue to use that term. You know, how does somebody get in? But one of the things, and I'll say this, cause you probably have never heard this, on your podcast, that I appreciate is your willingness to at least reference faith or church and family and things like that, regardless of the context. I think that's all of our journeys, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what drew me to you. And what you were saying, man, is whether that's reading scripture or being able to just laugh and poke fun at our shared experience in faith and just figure it out, man. So I appreciate that.
Well, Tim, I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate the story. And we are going to watch together now WrestleMania 21, Batista against Triple H. Ric Flair, of course, was there as well. It's the main event from the event at Staples Center. Tim, as always, thank you so much for being with us, for being loyal to Patreon, and best wishes to you moving forward. Thanks, buddy.
Guys, what are you waiting for? Go right now to BlueChew.com. You'll be glad you did. Be sure to use our promo code WHW, and we're going to hook you up. Blue Chew has been a day one sponsor for us here on What Happened When, and we greatly appreciate their support. And we'd appreciate if you would support them. If you haven't tried it already, what are you waiting for? Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers to you the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the process is so simple. You'll sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And here's the best part. It's all online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WHW at checkout. Just pay the $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code is WHW to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? A little bonus action all up in that ass. And of course, we couldn't do it without the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing fine.
All that, huh?
All that. Oh God.
You all right, Tony?
What a life, huh? What a life. You ever thought about this? I don't see how you do the mortgages and run that company and do all the podcasts and put together a star cast, and Jesus Christ.
It's a lot, bro, but you know what? I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So excited that I get to do it with you. It's the highlight of my week every single week. And today we get to do something pretty special. We get to go behind the paywall, doing a little bonus action, and a really special one too, because there was a whole section of wrestling that you missed.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about one of those great sections, WrestleMania. You never saw WrestleMania 21, 2005.
Right.
Boy, it had a lot of buzz, a lot of hype. At this point, it was the biggest WrestleMania ever, buy rate wise. They sold this Staples Center out so fast. And the main event is Batista against Triple H. And of course, Triple H had been the man for a long time. He had his reign of terror. They had just started sort of this brand split not too long before. So they're also trying to make John Cena. So let me just set the stage here for you.
Okay.
On the one hand, they think John Cena could be the guy, but on the other, they're more convinced that it's Batista. So they need a Raw champion and they need a SmackDown champion. And in this era, Raw was the A show because it was live and on USA and Heritage. and SmackDown was not on Fox, and it was taped. So they made John Cena the taped champion on this show.
The taped champion.
And they made Batista the live champion.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting because the big gold belt is in play here, Tony. And I know you weren't watching when this happened, but one day on Monday Night Raw, stupid ass Eric Bischoff just brought a briefcase out and said, "Hey, Hunter, here's your new belt," and handed him the big gold belt. It was just like that.
Wow.
And he became the Raw champion. So the SmackDown title is actually the lineal WWE championship that Hogan and Savage and all those guys held, but they decided to put that on the tape show on John Cena. Now, of course, we know history would tell us, although Batista has gone on to great success outside of WWE, John Cena became the bigger star for this company.
Right.
But still, at this point, this is the biggest WrestleMania because they had put together a group, sort of like a half-assed new generation horseman called Evolution. Have you heard of this?
Yes. Yes, I have.
So they had Ric Flair as the J.J. Dillon role, but he still wrestled some, with Randy Orton, who had just started, Batista, who had just started and come up from OVW, and Triple H. And now this is sort of the payoff of that because, well, Batista's getting a title shot, old school, like Sting did, right? When he won a title shot while he was technically in the Horseman, and
right.
Well, that didn't work out for him. So they borrowed from that a little bit, but I think you're going to love this. I want you to watch along with us. Hopefully you've got it fired up. Get your cock out and go to WrestleMania 21, or as they say on Peacock, season 21, 3 hours, 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Tony had a little trouble with that, so I'll repeat that for everybody. 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 53 seconds. And Tony, I love that for the occasion, you've decided to dress up like Mark Madden, really channeling your inner super genius in your Hawaiian shirt. Go to 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 53 seconds.
Okay. This is, let me tell you something here.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, this is from our good buddy, Pastor Tim.
Yeah. Love him.
Tim, when we asked him for his bonus selection, he gave us the event, the match, the venue, the announcers, the ring announcer, the referee, and the timestamp on Peacock.
He was ready, baby.
He was ready, man. He gave us everything. I'm burned up, man. I'm burned out here. I'm not completely burned out, but I'm burned out. So don't fuck with me.
You've been doing too much.
I've been doing a lot. Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm sympathetic to it. I've been there,
but I'm loving it, Conrad. I am.
Good.
Does that makes being burned out? I sleep really well.
Good.
Thanks to chilly sleep. I sleep really well, but I'm doing a lot. And since March, I've been doing a lot more, and it's one of those things where I made the decision myself to do it, and I'm fully committed to it now, but I'm burned up. That's why I asked you at the beginning of this, how do you handle all this shit, man? But anyway, there you go.
Well, here's
so I'm
the
looking
thing.
forward to this. I'm looking forward.
I don't always handle it that well. I mean, let's be clear. About a month ago, when I was sick, I was like, I just can't do anymore.
Right.
I've done all I can do, and had to take a few days off, and we're back at it now, baby. And we're fired up because, of course, here we are at the end of July. We know StarCast is upon us. Ric Flair's last match is upon us. I can't believe it's a real thing. Jim Crockett Promotions one last time. I'm so excited, but on the lead up here to get to watch an old WrestleMania with you, dude, this is badass. So hope you guys will watch with us. Season 21, 3 hours, 5 minutes, 53 seconds. Tony, I got it all locked and loaded on my end. If you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready. And let's go in 3, 2, 1, play.
So let me dip the audio for a minute. What'd you think of that package? They do a great job, don't they?
Yeah, they did.
How about Motorhead here?
Yeah. Pastor Tim said he was a big Motorhead fan, so he was really pumped up about this.
Let's take a listen. Lemmy, no longer with us. Hardcore rock and roller. and lived life to the fullest, and obviously became good, close personal friends with Hunter, and did this a few times. But man, having a hardcore entrance like this with a badass live band, that's pretty fucking cool, is it not?
Yeah, man. This is how one of the reasons that WrestleMania became what it is. It became more than just wrestling. It became a spectacle.
Yes,
right?
perfectly said.
Yeah. This is a hell of a storyline.
Did a fantastic job with it.
Yeah. How big in the grand scheme of things, you mentioned that John Cena was WWE's biggest star, but how big a star was Batista?
Oh, he was their top guy here. I mean, look at that entrance right there. Did you see him just come up out of the floor?
Absolutely. He had to be fucking pumped doing that.
Dude, that's all I'm thinking. Because can you imagine the adrenaline? Do you think his dick was harder there or tonight when he strutted ass into Monday Night Raw telling everybody, fuck off?
I didn't see that.
Well, I didn't see it either, but here's what I know.
Okay.
He's announced yesterday as or this past Friday as the head of talent relations, and today as the head of creative. And, he was retired a few months ago.
Right.
And now he's back running the damn show. And I bet that's how he walked into Monday Night Raw, just looking for people we know. We'll just leave it right there.
Wow.
He looks badass in that belt, though. That is, in his mind, the Ric Flair belt. Of course, he, to this day, has the Dome Globe, your favorite NWA world title, hung on his wall. Well, he can suck it because the belt he loves so much is over my head. But he had it recreated. I can say that behind the paywall. We're safe.
Yeah.
I never really understood why it was cool to spit water, but he made it look cool.
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing too, but I mean, he made it look cool. But in this era, I have to tell you, I did not enjoy, and I mean, did not enjoy him on camera. It felt like it was the same old thing for way too long. They called it the Reign of Terror. I just didn't enjoy it. So I was so excited for him to lose it to Batista. Looking back, I can appreciate, hey man, he was better than I gave him credit for at the time. And I feel like there's a lot of wrestlers who I feel that way about. I go back now and I watch stuff with Ravishing Rick Rude. I watch stuff with Bobby Eaton. I watch stuff with Arn Anderson. They were always on the program, but it's like, my tastes weren't refined. It's sort of like when I was a little kid, I'll never forget, we lived in Prattville. No, actually this was in Millbrook, and my parents lived in a cul-de-sac, and all their friends were over, on a weekend, Alabama night. And somehow they wound up, maybe it was 4th of July, and they were shooting off fireworks in the cul-de-sac or whatever. So my parents have some lawn chairs with other parents, and they're drinking some beer. So I said, I want a sip. And they gave me a sip. And of course, as a kid, everybody remembers your first sip of beer, buddy. It's the worst shit you've ever put in your mouth. And then later I find myself as an adult saying, damn, I'll have a Miller Lite. Let's watch Batista here.
You look badass, buddy.
He looks like a comic book hero.
Yeah.
And I guess he is. I mean, he's Drax these days on what's it called? Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that.
Right. Yeah. He was he was also on, not the last one, but one of the last ones.
James Bond things, right?
James Bond, he was one of the villains. And
he's done some really, really cool stuff. He is a hashtag dream chaser. I appreciate that he has always been a guy who's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to go do this now. And sometimes people want him to do something else, and he's like, nope, don't want to. Yeah. And I think that's really cool that he is allowed himself to take chances and risks. And he even talked about, once upon a time when he made a bunch of money and lived big here in wrestling, and he spent it. And afterwards, when he left, I mean, he even talked about before he got this role or that role, he was like thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose the house. But he didn't want to go back to wrestling. He wanted to prove to himself that he could make it. And by God, he did. Yeah. I just love stories about guys who get out of their comfort zone, bet on themselves, and it pays off. He's a real success story for pro wrestling, and, became a multi-millionaire many, many times over. But still, when I think of John Cena, dude, and I know you're going to laugh at this, But I just don't think history remembers him this way yet, but they will. But there's a whole generation of wrestling fans who grew up with John Cena as their Hulk Hogan. Now, he wasn't first, so nobody will ever compare him to Hulk Hogan, really. But just when you think about the impact on little kids and the longevity, it was kind of Hogan-esque. He was the face of that place for a long, long time.
And he knew how to take that role and run with it.
Yes.
And that's important. I have a lot of respect for Batista because it takes a lot of self-confidence to be able to do what he's done.
Yeah.
It does. Self-confidence that I would have never had. And I've talked about this many times. The difference between me and JR has always been JR's confidence in what he does. How about Mike Chioda or Chioda?
Chioda. Yeah. He's our referee at the end of the month for Ric Flair's last match too. How about that?
That's great, man. Chioda's one of the best ever.
This match, by the way, got, according to the Observer, 2 3/4 stars. So they didn't love it.
Okay.
But boy, it sold all kinds of pay-per-views. I'll pull that up, but let's hear what JR's saying right now before they hook up.
The dirtiest player in the game, a 16-time world champion, Ric Flair, is at ringside. Nate. There he is. There's Nate. This.
Just to let you know, 980,000 people purchased this on pay-per-view. It was up from the prior year, which was 885. It would fall the next year to 930. And of course, in 2007, they would break it. They had 1.18. In 2011, they would break that again, 1.12. Well, I guess that's not breaking it, but they did in 2012, 1.253. And then of course the network came around in 2014 and it was a whole new ball of wax.
Sure. Do you, I know you've heard the talk that the only reason that Triple H got his push because of his, because he married Stephanie.
Those are haters. I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah. I don't buy that either. I thought Triple A had a great look, as we talked about. And listen, when he was Jean-Paul Levesque in WCW back then.
Yeah.
He was a very good guy, was very personable. And I just knew he was going to be a big star back then. I really did.
I'll tell you what's not fair. And by the way, I'm not a Triple H fan.
Okay.
I want to be clear. I've had maybe 24 interactions with the real man in real life, and he's been fantastic every time. Goes out of his way to be nice.
Right.
I mean, a really cool guy. And I know that Bruce enjoys working with him, and everybody I know who has worked with him says nice things, but I'm just saying as a wrestling character, he wasn't quote unquote one of my guys. Sure. And that's okay. There's lots of guys who weren't one of my guys, but I will say this, the knock on him was, he's only in that spot because he married Stephanie, or he politicked, blah, blah, blah. Buddy, who was successful in wrestling who didn't politic? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about long-term sustainable success. And you might say, well, Terry Funk. Okay. How long was Terry Funk a top guy in the modern era? He had a couple of really cool runs. If you want to hang your hat on 1989 NWA, okay. But how long was that? It was months. It wasn't years. Those are just facts. That's reality. But if you go down the line and you say, well, Austin was political. Well, Rock was political. Well, Hogan, give me a fucking break. He was political. Well, Flair, are you kidding? He was a booker half the time. Well, right. Dusty, hello. There is a pattern. It's one thing. Hulk Hogan once said, everybody says it's fake. It's a work. It's not a shoot. But as a shoot, the top guy makes the most money. Sounds pretty real to me. Ta-da.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that it's like Rick used to say in promos, being the man and staying the man are two different things.
Right.
Lots of guys got to say they were world champion. Doesn't mean necessarily they stayed world champion for a long time, kept that top spot and got the big paydays. Hunter did. Now, did he also wind up marrying the boss's daughter? Sure. But are we going to say that, well, Austin was only successful because he married? Come on.
Yeah. Look, I want to say something about politicking.
Yeah.
Okay. And politics and wrestling, because I've been accused of a lot of things. Obviously, most of them came from Bobby Heenan in the bullshit that he put out about me afterwards.
Right.
Politicking, I've always gone, not always, but over the last, I don't know, 2 decades of my life, I've lived by this one quote, and it came from Albert Einstein, and it said, "Don't look to be a man of success, look to be a man of value."
Oh, there you go.
And I've always approached my business like that. As far as wrestling is concerned. Hey, Tony, do you want to do the control centers? Yes, I do. Tony, would you like to help us out with talent relations? Yes, I do. Would you like to do interviews? Yes, I do. Would you like to stay up all night with Tony Khan and just go over things? Yes, I do.
Well, maybe that last one maybe was a bad call.
Yeah, maybe it's a bad call. But still, it's so I started out as just an announcer, but I knew that if I wanted to stay long in this business, longevity, and of course, WCW got sold and that ended that, I knew that I had to be more than just an announcer.
Right.
And if that's called politicking, then it's politicking. But I'm always wanting to do more, and I'm willing to do more. And I'm not willing to just be an announcer and sit in the announcer room but if that's, I think that's all a part of politicking. So I don't think that politicking is a bad word. Politicking is somebody that is viewed a lot of times, somebody that goes behind the boss's back and buries everybody else. That's not me. And I don't think that exists as much in wrestling as people think it does.
Well, but, here's the thing too. I think there's a difference in politicking to get you moved down the card as opposed to politicking to make sure I stay on top of the card.
Right.
Those are two different things.
Sure.
And I think a lot of times people wind up arguing for their own creative.
Right.
Well, that's smart. That's good.
Yeah. Well, I was told that, he's told that you need to work closer with Tony.
Yes.
A lot of people said that because you have longevity in this business and the talent likes you and they respect you and you treat everybody well. And so I took that as saying, you know what, maybe I should. And so I've become more involved in the company now. And if that is Tony Schiavone politicking, then no, it's not. It's just Tony Schiavone, again, trying to be someone of value to the company.
Here's something I want to tell all of our listeners here. I say it. Young people in my life come to me sometimes and they'll say, man, I want to raise. I've been at my job a long time and I'm doing a good job, but I want to do more. And they said this and they said that. And how can I move up? How can I do better? How can I do more? Those type conversations. We've all been familiar with those type conversations.
Absolutely.
And my advice is always the exact same. Make yourself invaluable. Make yourself irreplaceable. Make it to where they don't think they could do this business without you. And if you find a way to make it to where those folks are totally dependent on you, or they believe and feel as if they are totally dependent on you being a part of this organization, guess what? You got a job forever.
Yeah.
Guess what? You got the leverage. So if you need a few days off here and there, no problem. Yeah. Right. You want to go ask for a little bit of a raise, they're going to have to think, what would it look like if he or she wasn't here? And if they have to think about that and they say, well, we just can't do that. Guess what? You won.
Yeah.
So you've done that. You've managed. And I'll tell you, it's something that once you really get the hang of it, man, life gets a little easier.
Yeah.
Because now you're not as dictated to. You have some influence.
Right.
And in your quality of life, I just think really at the end of the day, what we're talking about, Tony, and we're getting way philosophical here over a pretty good match.
Right.
Is, are you somebody who lets things happen to you, or are you someone who makes things happen for you?
Yeah.
And when people say that about Hunter, oh, he played politics. How? I mean, and why aren't you? Like, don't you want to make things happen for you?
Yeah.
Seems logical.
Yeah. That's very well said. Why aren't you?
Why aren't you? Like,
right.
Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to be the guy who's the last one in and the first one out.
Right.
I want to be the guy who outworks everybody. I want to be the guy who is irreplaceable. I want to be the guy that people can count on, that people can depend on, that people don't have to wonder, what's Conrad going to do today? Is Conrad going to do what he said he would do? If that's the way people talk about you, man, you're going to go through life on a rough course.
Yeah.
But man, if you know that you can make yourself irreplaceable, you're going to have a little bit of leverage. You're going to get to enjoy a great quality of life. You're going to get to dictate the things that happen in your life. You decide, you're in control.
Sure.
And Hunter put his hands on the wheel, man. And he had quite a career, and look at him today, putting on the headset and strutting ass all over Monday Night Raw.
How about that?
The Garden.
That's something. Isn't that something?
I do think it's kind of fun though, that, you know, this Wednesday Night War started with Hunter versus Tony, and now it's Hunter versus Tony again. I'll be damned. I'm sure if I'm Tony Khan, I'm stomping around my mega yacht in Jacksonville thinking, what's it going to take to finish this guy off? I know you weren't watching, but back in the day, when Shawn Michaels screwed Bret Hart and he left, they re-signed Owen Hart for a bigger contract and made him stay. They wouldn't let him out of his deal, but they gave him a raise.
Yeah.
And Shawn went on TV and called Owen Hart a little teeny tiny stinky nugget where you flush the toilet and you think it's all gone, but bloop, bloop, bloop. Here comes this little stinky nugget that won't go away. And on some level, I'm sure Tony's thinking, Triple H, that damn nugget, gotta flush him one more time. Thought he was out of here.
I hope he doesn't think that way.
No, he probably doesn't. I don't think Tony thinks about nuggets.
Yeah. I hope Tony thinks about how do I make my product better. Hey, you know what? I was thinking there. Now let's take a look here in this match because they are on the mat here. Maybe we'll find out exactly how big Batista's dick is.
Oh gosh, I hope not.
I don't know what made me think about that. Maybe it's because
every time we record, you're hog watching.
No, well, when you have a hog the size of mine, you always look around and go, why not me? You know?
I mean, do you think, let's talk about this. You have a lovely family, a happy marriage.
Okay.
A wonderful home, the world's best friend in Bug.
Yes.
A job that you enjoy, that you feel provides meaningful work and brings value to the world. And we know that. We've proven it time and time again. And you got to live your dream and you get to travel the world. And you've got all that. And you think, trade it all in for a big old dick.
I didn't say I would trade it in.
I mean, I'd be homeless and working at Home Depot or living under a bridge and
but
suffering from major medical issues. But God, if I had a mega hog, be the jam. Couldn't tell me nothing.
There's a certain truism to all that.
What would you rather have for the rest of your days at the spry age of 69 years old?
64.
Would you rather have for the rest of your days a big old donkey dick or $1 million cash?
$1 million cash.
Well, you didn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
Here's a spoiler. Girls will pick the same answer.
At this age, I like, man, wouldn't it be great to have fuck you money? Just wouldn't it be great to have that? All right. So we got a little double play here. So what do you think of this match so far?
You know, listen, the fans, I think were not really as excited, about this in execution as they were on the build. I think the build was better than the match.
Yeah. We're watching it. We're being philosophical, like you said. And I think our discussions have been very interesting. I really do, about Hunter and about politicking and all of that. But as we watch this and I'm thinking, it's nothing special here.
Yeah.
It's just a regular run of the mill match. And we're talking about the main event to WrestleMania. And a lot of times main events, the storyline is bigger than the match itself. I get that, but I'm not seeing anything that jumps out and The only thing I've seen that jumps out was Flair choking Batista there. I thought that was pretty funny when we saw that. But other than that, nothing much.
So here it is. Batista pinned Triple H to win the world title in 21:34. Everyone thinks Triple H's new look is to copy Ole Anderson, and I thought so too. But then remembered Harley Race also used to do that weird Signbirds deal in the 70s, and Triple H is a big-time race fan. The crowd was jacked when the two jacked-up guys were facing off at the bell. Triple H actually looked more bloated and thicker in some ways than Batista. The opening spot was to be a press slam, but Batista didn't get Triple H all the way up. Batista did some power stuff early until Ric Flair's distraction gave Hunter the advantage. Flair was choking Batista with his blue blazer.
Yeah.
Triple H uses a spine buster for a near fall, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. The match went too long, and it was made way too obvious Batista wasn't what the people really want him to be. The match didn't have nearly the heat I expected, and it was because of how it was worked and not in spite of it. Triple H did a good job in carrying Batista past 20 minutes, but it served no purpose to do so. The crowd wasn't into Batista selling, but did grow violently angry when they thought it was possible Triple H was going to win 2 3/4 stars. So fans at this point love Batista and do not want Hunter, but on some level, Batista's in-ring work in this match left a lot to be desired based on what Meltzer wrote and the way he perceived, look at that blood really coming down. The way he perceived the crowd received it. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Goldberg, where in short bursts, man, everybody absolutely loved him. But if you saw a 20-minute Goldberg match, you might not love it.
Yeah.
But then I wondered, and this is the conspiracy theorist in me, and this sucks that this is the way we have to think every now and again. Did Triple H sandbag him? Like, okay, you think this is the next guy? I'll drop the belt to him. I'll lose, and I'll make it look like I'm putting him over strong. I'll sell. I'll bleed my ass off.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure I structure the match where I know that I'm the one that shines, not him. It's the old fashioned, it's not who goes over, it's who gets over situation. And I'm not saying that he did that, but I am saying, yes, Batista's going to win, but people are going to say, Batista won, but wasn't that good.
Yeah. I don't know. That line of thought to me is just
it's negative.
It's a negative. It's you're going to think that way regardless of what happens in the match.
Yeah.
But the fans obviously did not want.
They did not want Triple H. You can
to win, right?
For 100%.
Yeah. Would it be safe to say that Triple H's reception back in 2005 was kind of like Cody's reception at the end of his run in AEW? They really didn't like him because of who they perceived him to be.
No, I mean, Triple H was a damn heel, and I think people were just bored of it here.
Okay.
You know, they had seen it for so long, and wrestling fans are weird sometimes. You know, I see a lot of talk on WWE social media, or, you know, just on wrestling social media when they're discussing WWE, and they would say things like, same old shit, push somebody new. And then they try to push a guy like Austin Theory, or I don't know, Madcap Moss or Rick Boogs or whatever. And people are like, oh, fuck this guy. Who is he? Get him out of here. We want stars.
Right.
Well, it's sort of chicken and the egg. You got to make them a star first.
Of course.
And I think if you go back and you look at the start of AEW, man, I don't think a lot of people really understood or got Darby Allin. Now he's one of y'all's biggest stars. The same could be said about Orange Cassidy. Right. You talk about a polarizing character. A lot of people were like, well, this is fucking a mockery of the business. This is stupid. I hate everything about this. But then they watched it and they were like, oh, well, fuck, I was wrong. This is awesome.
Right. Yeah. Well, JR said it on the air.
Yeah. And you know, I'll never forget, you and I sitting together with Tony, or your Tony, with JR and Excalibur after the debut AEW TV show. We got together in the hotel and just sort of bullshitted for a bit in the lobby and lobby bar area and all that. And I could tell JR was like, fuck on this Orange Cassidy stuff. And then it wasn't too long after that. And before we click record, he goes, Connie, I got to tell you, I was wrong.
Yeah.
That boy's got something.
Yes, he does.
It's just different. And so sometimes fans, you know, we're all creatures of habit. So on the one hand, we say we want surprises. We say we want new. We say we want different, but we also want the same old shit. But then if it's too much of it, now it's too much. It's weird, but that's just the way it is. And it's almost like, remember George Burns and Brewster's Millions? He told the story where his parents caught him smoking and they made him smoke a whole carton of cigarettes, one after another.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's sort of like, you know, he wanted some cigarettes. He didn't want all of them. I think it's sort of the same thing in wrestling, where if you give us too much of something, we'll think you're pushing it down our throats and we regurgitate it. And I think a perfect example of that's probably Roman Reigns, man. They hated him a few years ago.
Sure.
And now people are loving his stuff.
Yeah.
Look at Flair in there.
I'm surprised Flair didn't blade himself.
Oh, well, it ain't over yet. I don't remember if he did or didn't.
Okay. Well, he got hit right where they were on the outside moments ago, and he went down face first. I'm thinking, here we go.
We both thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both thought that.
And Chioda's going to just roll the old man out. Oh, there you go. Now the fans are thinking, oh, here we go.
Let's try.
He's going over.
This is how Triple H is going to retain his title. He just hit a home run. I'll be damned.
Did you hear the boos before he even went to the cover?
Yeah. They thought, man.
They believed. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder how much, I don't know how much it costs today, but wonder how much front row ringside at WrestleMania goes for. And how do you have to get those? You have to like.
Oh no. Well, they sell them online now. Underneath the hard cam here, those are comps.
Okay.
WWE a lot of time gives their comps underneath the hard cam or behind the ringside announce desk.
Right.
But that side across from the hard cam where you're on TV all night, they 100% sell those, and they sell them for a fucking arm and a leg.
Yeah. Well, you got to queue up and wait online for that shit, man.
No, I think a lot of times it's, you got to know somebody, but you still pay.
Oh. Yeah, sure.
Like I think they're paying, maybe they don't have to know somebody, but
yeah.
I think once upon a time they were selling them for like 10 grand a ticket or something absurd like that.
Yeah.
And by the way, good for them, but that's such a gargantuan amount of money to me.
Yeah. Isn't it true that, that scalpers buy a lot of those up online?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What tickles me is every time AEW sells something out in 4 minutes, the haters will be, it was just scalpers. You think Tony fucking cares? They bought all the tickets. Sit in the seats or don't. He got paid. What the fuck? But it's like, there's this big whataboutism that exists in wrestling, and it's just a little silly sometimes. Like, dude, do you care? Like, imagine, let's say you sold donuts, and let's say you open the store up and a guy pulls up in a van and says, sell me all your donuts. And then you do.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to fucking bitch at you and be like, well, some guy just bought them all. It's not because they're any good. Why did he fucking buy them all? They opened the donut store to sell fucking donuts. Who cares who bought them?
Oh God, people are so petty.
It's so crazy to me.
It's so fucking.
Well, my point is there's no genuine fan interest.
Yeah.
Well, if that was the case, they wouldn't do it the second time, smarty.
And guess what? You are not a genuine fan either. And there's the 1, 2, 3. How about that?
There it is. He put him over. Is that the greatest moment you think in a wrestler's life to main event WrestleMania and win the world title? I mean, does it get any bigger than that realistically?
No, it doesn't. And to lump onto that, to be able to go back and watch it and hear JR sell it the way he sold it.
Yeah.
To me would be the biggest moment in your career.
Yeah.
Because no one sells it like JR does. I mean, no one does. Listen to what he said when he won it and how he said it. The raw emotion that was in his voice.
The greatest world champion of this generation could withstand that man from Washington, D.C., the 317-pounder. The celebration begins. The World Heavyweight Championship belongs to Batista. The beast has been unleashed at WrestleMania 21.
I got to tell you, now that I've done just absolutely nothing in wrestling, but I've ran or tried to just price stuff and quote stuff for an arena show. When I see that, all I can think is, You know how much money that was in fucking pyro right there at the end?
Oh my God.
That was such a significant amount of cash. My goodness. Well, that'll do it, boys and girls. We greatly appreciate you guys checking out this bonus action Wrestlemania season 21. What do you say overall, Tony? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
I say thumbs in the middle. Presentation wise, storyline wise, thumbs up.
Yep.
Match execution, thumbs middle. And therefore a thumbs. I don't think there's anything really thumbs down. JR's commentary, thumbs up, obviously. And of course, it wasn't a stinker. But maybe what was 2 3/4 stars? I would say 3-star match, just to round it off.
Well, it's pretty close to what Meltzer gave it. We got another bonus piece of content coming your way, boys and girls. Stay tuned. There's more. What happened when? Coming your way. Tax season is here, which means you've received or are expecting that tax refund any day now, and you're thinking about what to spend it on. How about a new home? With SaveWithConrad.com, we're helping renters become homeowners every single day, and it's more affordable than you think. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need a huge down payment. In fact, you may not need a down payment at all. At SaveWithConrad.com, we take the stress out of the home buying process. We'll determine your buying power. We'll even help you find a realtor. And unlike the banks, we don't say no. We say not yet, but here's how. So if you're not ready right now, we'll get you on a plan to be ready. Stop throwing your money away, paying someone else's mortgage with your rent, and start the path towards owning your own home today at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 32416, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com.